Sawdust Startups. This is time management module. And to be perfectly honest with you, I have delayed this module. I delayed the time management module because some of the stuff is hard to hear and it's hard to say. And I don't want to offend anybody or anything like that. And so take all of this with um, this stuff that develops over time. And this is basically how I structure my days. And I've also based that on previous studies that I've done or research I've done on how other successful people structure their days, and it makes a massive difference, especially when you spread it out over time. And that's what we want to talk about because I know a lot of you are dealing with families, or dealing with you have a job, you have your family, and you also have this side business that you're trying to grow. And all of that has to take place in a 24-hour period every day. And it can be stressful and it can be hard to overcome. But there are ways to structure this that it can all work together. And I want to talk about that in this module. And I hope that this helps you out. Now, first and foremost, after this video, make sure you watch all of it, or you can go download it now. Under this module here, you can download a planner that I've developed includes your weekly planner, a daily planner, and then some goal setting for the year. I love goal setting. I think it's very important. And this planner is a physical thing. You can print that out and write on it. And it's very important to write things down because if you're looking at them, they're looking back at you. So here we go. Time management module for us woodworkers. So let me see if I can make it work. There we go. Routines build success. How do you build a wall? You're going to build it one brick at a time. It's also said, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So you're going to develop these routines over time, but routine in your daily life is what will set you apart from most everybody else because you're either going to develop bad routines or good routines, and we're going to talk about how to develop good ones. Aristotle said 95% of everything you do is a result of habit. If you start thinking about your daily habits, how you wake up, how you spend your mornings, how you spend your mid-mornings, your lunches, like all of that is a habit. And if you think about it over the last 2 weeks, months, years, you've probably been doing the same thing every day for the last several months at least, because we're creatures of habit. We literally just fall into the habit. So one thing you can do is start forming good habits over bad habits. Now, what are good habits? Good habits are anything that benefits you and your family or your business, right? Bad habits are things that are time sucks, things that just a waste of time. And they're literally after you're done with the bad habit, you're like, I just wasted 2 hours watching Netflix. I should have been doing X, Y, or Z. Like those are bad habits. Not that watching TV is bad, but in moderation. You know what I'm saying? All right, set a daily goal. Before you go to sleep every single night, every night before you go to sleep, set at least one goal for the next day that's top priority. Doesn't have to be business related. It can be, top priority tomorrow is going to little Johnny's baseball game. That could be your top priority for the day, but there has to be a priority for the day, and you set that the night before. If you want to set 3, that's awesome. Always set at least 1. You also need to have a results-oriented mindset. So you can't just be like, well, tomorrow I might get out and build something, or I might not. It's not really results-oriented. Results-oriented is tomorrow I will start on the new stove cover design, or tomorrow I will start on the new cutting board order that I just got. So be results-oriented, have a results-oriented mindset. And the most important thing you can do is prioritize what is important right now. We all have a bad habit of procrastinating, putting things off as much as possible. But when you prioritize, especially when you start thinking about, the night before, you start thinking about the next day, what is the most important thing for you to get done the next day? That's on top of the priority list. And then when you go to sleep with that on your mind, when you wake up, it's on your mind, then you can jump into it. And the most important thing, obviously, is to do it. Starting is probably one of those things that we put off the most, especially when we start something new, or we're just a little bit nervous about creating a new time schedule, or if we're just, we just put things off because we don't like starting because we have a fear of failure. We have a fear of what other people are going to think. But you have to put all that away, put it all to the side, and just start. Routines build success. The morning, this is the one that I almost left this out. The morning routine is the most important part of your day, in my opinion. And from everything that I've read and researched and watched about successful people's routines, the morning routine will set the tone for the day. If you win the morning, you will win the day. I have seen this over and over and over after hundreds, if not thousands of mornings of the same routine every day that I do. First thing you got to do is get up. You got to get up early before everyone else. This is one of the things that really changed my life in a positive way. When I was mid 20s, all the way through my mid 20s, really, I would sleep as late as I could to the last second. I would hit that snooze button 3, 4 times because I didn't want to get up. And that really wasn't setting the day. I wasn't winning the morning that way, right? I was just being lazy, to be honest with you. And how do you overcome that? You gotta start getting up early, and you got to get up early. You got to go to bed early to get up early. And that's one of the things I've learned. At about 9 o'clock every night, we turn the TV off. Matter of fact, last night it was like 8:45. There was still sunlight outside. TV went off. We was tired. We just want to sleep. When you're tired, go to sleep and stop staying up scrolling. And one of the main things that a lot of people do is, I say, put the phone down an hour before bed. A lot of people have the habit of taking their phone, getting on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever, and you scroll. That really activates your brain in a bad way, because it starts stimulating your brain, your mind starts wandering, it starts going. And then when you try to go to sleep, you can't go to sleep. And I've done this myself. I'm guilty of it from time to time. I'll start the death scroll, I call it. And you're just like, because your brain starts like going on overdrive, and then you can't go to sleep. If you can't go to sleep, you can't get up early, not easily anyway. So put the phone down an hour before bed. You can read, you can watch TV, you can do whatever, but just get off the phone. Put it away. You don't need it. This is the one I almost didn't put in there. This is what changed my life. I'm not kidding. When I was in my mid-20s, even into my early 30s, I started getting a little heavier because I wasn't moving. I would just, again, sleep late, and I wouldn't get up and move. This is one of the things that really does make a huge difference. Now, I know a lot of people are going to balk at this. Don't click off the video. You can watch the rest of it because it'll all apply to you. But if you really want change, if you want your life to change, to win the morning, move. Get up, brush your teeth, move right then. So this is what I do. I wake up anywhere between 4:30 and 5, typically closer to 5. I wake up, brush my teeth. Going back to preparing the night before, I always, every single night, set out a pair of workout shorts, my shoes, my T-shirt, and my socks. Like I literally have nothing to do but put them on when I get up. Put those on, brush my teeth, and then I will take a couple of vitamins and a glass of water, and then I go work out. I'm not saying you have to go work out, lift weights, CrossFit, nothing like that, but you should be moving. You get up, you go for a walk. Walking is fairly easy for most of us. And if it's not easy, if you have disabled, if you're disabled or you have physical limitations that prevent you from that, that's totally different. But if you don't, you got to get up and move. You got to get up and move, because this will set the tone for the day. When you get up and complete something like that in the mornings, it changes your mindset, especially over time. And I've been getting up and working out. So I went to troop school, and before I went to troop school, I'd never worked out in the mornings ever. And I started preparing for troop school, and I was running every day and all this stuff. And then I went to troop school, which they make you get up every day. When I got out of troop school, I stopped all that. I was like, man, that's for the birds. I'm not doing that anymore. And for about a year, I didn't. And I started getting lazy. I really did. I started putting on weight, and I just started feeling really bad. And I also noticed that my productivity was going down because I just wasn't moving. Your body's built to move. And so when I got up, I saw a family picture. We took a family picture, and I saw my weight in the picture, and I was done. I was like, nope, not doing this anymore. And so I made it an absolute priority to get up every morning and work out. So I do get up almost every morning, not every, but 5 or 6 days a week. I will get up and move in some way. And sometimes it's like yesterday morning, I just got up and went for a walk. And so you can just move. Like, it doesn't have to be like super strenuous. You just have to move. That sets the tone for the day. Once you do that, I'm telling you, if you start this habit, create this habit over a month's time, you'll start seeing a massive difference in not only the way you feel, but also in the way that you produce your output during the day. It's a big deal. And then when I get done, I shower and I eat breakfast. Always eat breakfast, higher protein, low carb, no sugars. And then what I do is typically I eat 3 eggs over easy or over medium actually. 3 eggs most every day, 3 to 4, depending on how hungry I am. That's all I eat for breakfast. Like I don't need a bunch of pancakes and all because that stuff makes you feel like trash. Bagels, like I just eat eggs, straight up eggs. Then you can start your day, and that's going to really set you up. Now, a lot of people say, I don't have time for XYZ. Not, we're getting off the workout thing. I don't have time to put in shop hours. I don't have time to study. I don't have time to do that. Your time is 100% under your control. What you choose to do with it and prioritize with it is where your time's going. But it is absolutely under your control to figure out how to prioritize your time blocks in your day to figure out, okay, well, I've got 18 hours of waking time or 16 or however much you sleep. I've got this much waking time and I have to go to work for 8.5 or 9 hours, commute time and all. And then I've got family that I'm going to spend time with. Well, there's a block of time there that you're wasting in some way. It's not being beneficial to you. Now, you may prioritize watching TV or scrolling on the social media over the production because, well, you went to work and now you're tired. Well, we're all tired. You know, it just depends on how bad do you want to grow this business. Like that's what it's going to come down to. And if you really want to grow the business, what matters to you will be priority. It's just, it is. You actively control what you spend time on. How much television, YouTube, social media do you watch? If you take your phone out, almost all modern smartphones have screen time on them. I know iPhones, I'm sure Android does too. Go to screen time and look at what you're spending your time on your phone. There's your answer. If it's an hour and 2, 3, 4 hours on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you got problems. And it's not that you have a mental problem. You have a time problem because you're investing your time into those platforms instead of into yourself, right? You're letting them make money off of you when you should be making money for yourself. So be careful on where you spend your time. We're all guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. I'll get on Facebook. I'll be supposed to be doing something. And I'll just start scrolling, and we get sucked into it because that's what the platforms are made for. They are absolutely made to keep you on the platform as long as possible. So don't feel guilty about it. Just change the habit, right? And then when we change the habit, we start putting that time towards other things. You'll see a massive difference in your business. Huge difference. And you have to learn to say no. So there's a lot of times when people want you to do things, and sometimes you just don't have the time. You don't prioritize that over what you're doing. So, for instance, you get invited to go out with friends or family or whatever to come over, and you have certain things to do to get done. Then you may have to tell them no. I'm not saying you have to always say no, but there are times in your life where you're gonna have to say no, and just let them know, hey, I've got 20 orders that I got to get out by next week, and so I appreciate the offer. Let's do this again XYZ date, or let's reschedule this for another day because this is my business. I have to get this done. Sometimes you just have to say no. And that's one of the hardest things to do, especially to friends and family. Prioritizing what's important to you, went over that. The time that is out of your control is work. Obviously, you have a certain block of time that you have to be at work every day. And then family should also be blocked out of your time. Kids' activities, whether it be their sports or whatever they're doing. And then also family time. Do not neglect this, as there are times when you will, because you have certain things to get done, because you have certain orders and obligations, but they should always be priority in almost all cases, except when there's no way around it. You have to get your stuff done. We go back to the wasting time. There's 2 ways we waste time purposely to avoid starting or doing something. Guilty as charged. I do this all the time. I'm like, man, I really need to do this, but you know what? I'd rather watch a video on whatever. And so I'll go to YouTube and search whatever I'm into. Usually it's gym equipment or watches or something like that. Tools. I watch a bunch of tool videos too. And so I'm just avoiding what I'm supposed to be doing by putting my time elsewhere. So if you are doing that, you're not alone. Just be cautious of it. I just want you to be mindful of that because we do that. And then sometimes we waste the time. We don't realize we're wasting it. So for instance, one thing that, before we get to success takes sacrifice, one thing that you sometimes may be doing is working on something that you could outsource or get someone else to do for you. So I'm not saying hiring somebody, but we was on a group call this last week, and a gentleman was talking about he was hand turning knife handles and making knives for people and to sell with his charcuterie boards. And another member said, "Hey, please holler at me. I'm going to holler at you on the school app because we sell charcuteries and cutting boards. We'd love to put knives with them as an upsell." And so those two are going to collaborate and get together and work that stuff out. So there's like if there's products that you're making that or that you're needing for your business that other members, especially members of this community, are making, and you see them making them, might reach out to them and y'all can work something out. That way it offsets your time. So if you could, I'll just tell you, Greg Godert here on the community he makes our mallet templates and trays. I used to make all of them here in my shop on my CNC, but I outsourced them to him. I pay him a wholesale price to make those for me so that I could free up that time because I needed that time block back. And so that's how you can free up some of your time. If you have the resources, you can always outsource some of this work that you're having to do, especially if it's work that can be done on machines or CNCs things, or even like adding upsell items like the hand turn knives, things like that. You could outsource some of this stuff to free up some of your time that you have now. Success takes sacrifice. It's one of those things that it's just a fact. You're just going to have to realize that at some points in time, some things you're going to have to sacrifice to be successful. And we, Amy, my wife, and I have sacrificed a lot over the years to make sure things happen, or try to make not make sure, but try to make things happen for the business. And it's just unavoidable at times. And I'm not saying you should neglect anybody, especially spouses and kids, but there are times when you're going to have to make time sacrifices. You're going to have to make financial sacrifices, and just really pour into the business. And it's just one of those things, like time on your hobbies or even relaxing. If you're used to coming home and eating supper and then vegging out in front of the TV for 2, 3, 4 hours a night, how bad do you want to grow your business? Do you really, really want to grow the business? Because if you do, then those 2, 3, 4 hours could be dedicated, not all of them, but some of them should certainly be dedicated to learning something else. We could, can I go back? Yeah. We could, take that time and put it on reading or learning about business or market research, any of that stuff. Like there's a lot of time that you could in your day, if you really mapped out your day, use the planner I just gave you and map out your day, what it actually looks like now, and then say, oh, we did spend 3 hours vegging out on Netflix last night. So not saying you could have to give all of that up, but a couple of days a week, would it hurt? Probably not. It'd probably help. All right. Make time. Every day you decide one thing is a must do today. Remember prioritizing we was talking about a while ago? Prioritize one thing every single day. We all have hundreds of things we have to do every day. You have to, feed the kids. You have to go to work. You have to mow the lawn. Like there's things that's always going to come up. But there's one thing for the business you could prioritize and do every single day. So like each day you should make one thing top priority. You could do, I'm spending 1 hour in the shop this week, or 1 hour reading or studying business, whatever it is, 1 hour every day. Everybody on here could probably find 1 hour in their day somewhere. Somewhere you could do it if you really, really wanted it. When you focus on one thing a day stretched over a week, you've just added 7 hours to that task per week. So if you're having trouble getting shop time, you're having trouble finding enough time in the day to go to the shop. If you do 1 hour a day, that's 7 hours a week, 210 hours a month. How much can you get done in 210 hours? A lot. The problem is we're not blocking this time off to actually dedicate to the shop, right? We're not dedicating this time to making those posts. We're not dedicating the time to finding researching products and looking for this type thing to add to our portfolio. We're just wasting the time. Block off. Like we can start simple. We're not, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Start 1 hour a day. Try that for a month. After 210 hours, look back at the month and you're like, holy mess. Look what I have accomplished in a month. When I put 210 hours into something, you're going to see a huge difference. Huge difference. Use the to-do list, digital or physical. Again, download that thing down below. It's going to really help you plan out your days. If you've never done that before, just try to do it for 30 days or start out 7 days. Let's start off with a bite-sized chunk. We'll start with 1 week. Write out your week, what you need to be done this week. If you don't know what you need to do in 3 days, Write down what you need to do tomorrow because you should be able to figure that out. Again, your brain has ideas. It doesn't hold them. You know how it is. You have a brilliant idea, and 3 seconds later, you forgot what you were thinking about. You should write this stuff down. So we got goal settings in this download. We also got where you can prioritize stuff. Write down what's priority so you don't forget it. Because if you're like me, I know that I have to do X, Y, Z this week, and then I get down like, what was I supposed to be doing? So write that stuff down. Schedule your time. So, like I said, schedule shop time. If you're in a relationship, you have to have that conversation with your significant other and let them know, hey, this is the business that I dream of. This is what I want. This is what I think is going to happen with it over the next, or this is the goals that I've set for the next 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. And the only way to get to those goals is I have to spend this time in the shop. I actually had a private consultation a guy bought from the website yesterday, or I had the consultation yesterday. And that was one of the things that he said that he and his wife had been discussing was she was like, hey, you spend a whole bunch of time in the shop here lately. When used to, you never, we did this while, this. He said, and I had to have that conversation with her because I hadn't done that yet. And so he wasn't thinking about that part. He was thinking about, well, I got to get out here and learn how to use these products or these tools, get my skills better. He just hasn't had that conversation with the spouse yet that, hey, I'm building a side business here that I think is going to bring in really good income, but it's going to take me learning how to do it first. And so I'm going to be spending this amount of time in the shop. Is that okay? Or is there something we can work out? Like you have to have that conversation. You just got to. There you go. That's what I just said. Create deadlines for yourself. This is huge. Now, this is one of the things I do every single week. I have a deadline that I have to film or come up with the idea and film a video every single week, 2 videos every single week. And one of the ways I put a deadline on myself is I hired an editor about 1.5 years or 2 years ago now. Chris is my editor. And I promised him, gave him my word that I would give him 2 videos every week without fail so that I could retain him as an editor and him not, have to look for other work, other people to edit for. He does other like videography work and stuff. But that's one of the things that puts a deadline on me. So if you can put a deadline on yourself, whether that be making a promise to yourself, making a promise to a customer or whatever, you have deadlines to meet. This will keep you honest on your time because then you have somebody that you don't want to let down. And so you're going to really dedicate that time to it. Yeah, and it says even if you have a week to complete a project, don't set a deadline to complete the project. If you don't, you'll ultimately procrastinate. And that's one of the things, like if you know that you've got a week to do something, most of us are going to wait till the day before it's due or 2 days before it's due to start on it. Don't do that. Just jump in and start it because that's just going to put too much pressure on you. And while you're procrastinating, you're not really getting anything done because you wind up procrastinating doing other stuff that's not productive or beneficial to the business, when if you'd just done the other product first and then after it was completed, you'd have had all that time to dedicate to the business. Protect your time or someone will steal it. You got to block off certain hours of your time. Now, you may have to get up early. We talked about getting up early. Maybe it's not you get up early and work out. Maybe it's you get up early and the first hour of your day is dedicated to the business. That's it. Or you're dedicated to shop time that first hour, or you're dedicated to learning something new that first hour. But that is your time. You have to block off certain hours of the day that's going to be yours and or your partner if your spouse is helping you with this business so that y'all can build that together, or you can help start building the business. Will that be your shop time, office time, study? If you not protect your time, something or someone will steal it from you. It's going to happen. You got to protect it at all costs. Again, make sure you have that conversation with your significant other, because if you don't, it's going to be trouble. Like, you're just going to have problems. And even though Miss 731 and I, when I first started woodworking, even though she knew what I was doing, it still caused arguments because I was like in the shop and she wanted to spend time with, because we spend as much time as possible together. Like if we're awake, we're together. And so that was a change in our relationship when I was out there working, and she would literally come out there a lot of times and sit on a chair with her iPad just to be near me, even if I was sanding or whatever. So it's just one of those things that you just have to have that conversation. Your time is valuable and the time investment matters. Time is a limited asset that we all get. We get 24 hours every day, and some of that's going to be sleeping, some of that's going to be at work. So you only have a certain amount of time, and you have to figure out how much that time is worth to you. Not necessarily in dollar amounts, but in what you're investing in for your future, right? Again, we was talking about things you can outsource. That helps free up some of your time. Ask the community here, like we talked about, getting products from other people. If that helps your business, you can maybe work out a special pricing where they're giving you kind of a wholesale price when they know that they can sell X number of units to you, and then you can help offset that time. A day planning your time is valuable. Wake up early on purpose, and that means you have to go to bed early on purpose. Block off time to dedicate to your business. Purposely spend time with your family. In other words, you're going to block that time off as family time, not shop time, not business time, not watching videos. That's family time. Block that time off if you have a family, and then use that downtime, your downtime, to grow your business. This is one thing that I do pretty regularly. Is I do product research or video research in my case, marketing strategy. I edit thumbnails in bed while we're watching TV. You can edit your photos, things like that for your product photos. You can make your posts, your reels while you're still watching a show. We talk about the Netflix time. I just use Netflix as a general example, but while you're watching TV, you can be doing some of this other stuff on the side and still keep up with what's going on the TV. And then you can also learn, watch videos, read, study business books. I love business books. I've read a ton of them. I recommend a bunch of them. There's a post. If you search book recommendations on school, you'll see my posts. There's a bunch of them on there. Let me show you the day planner before we jump off here. If I can get it to pull up, is that it? All right. So this is you can't see all of it for some reason. There we go. Sawdust Startups Weekly Planner. So I've done a weekly and is this all? Yeah, weekly and where did it all go? All of it didn't download. Stand by. Here we go. So this is the Sawdust Startups Weekly Planner. You can tweak this, whatever you want to do. But the way I set this up was Sunday through Monday, or Sunday through Saturday. Top priorities for the week. You're going to write those right there. And then your Sundays, you can plan off blocks of time, things like that. What's low priorities? You could put those for the week if you want. And then to do next week. So if you know you have projects starting next week, you can write those down. That kind of keeps them in the forefront of your mind. And there's just a little place for notes. If you scroll on down, there's two different daily planners here, depending on just basically how you like the look of it. This one starts at 8 a.m. goes through 6 p.m. Most of us' days start before that and end after that. So you might not want to use this one, but it's a good kind of a general guide. Kind of similar to-do list for the day, top priority for the day, not the week. And then the schedule, if you want to write in what's going on throughout the day. And then here's the one I actually like the best. It's the daily planner. I just like this format because it's 6 a.m. all the way through, was that 7, 18, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock. So that gives you, I'm not good with military time. That gives you all the way through 11 p.m. So that should cover most everybody's day, 6 a.m. Unless you wake up early and go for a run or walk or work out, which I really think you should. I'm telling you, it'll change your life. But you don't got to pencil that in. Just put that as up there somewhere. And then this also has daily priorities. You can circle what day of the week this is, so you can keep up with that if you want to print out 7 in a row. Any reminders you need, like pick up dry cleaning, pick up kids at school, whatever you need reminded to do. Daily affirmations. I like this idea where you just write down things that you're grateful for. Could be just one thing a day. I'm grateful for my spouse. I'm grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for my circular saw, whatever you're grateful for. And then for tomorrow, if you have something that's kind of priority for tomorrow, you may want to write that there, and then a little place for a few scratch notes. And then here's the goals: professional, personal for 2024. I think I'm going to pull it up a little bit more. Health goals, financial goals, relationship, passion goals. So this passion goals kind of like dream big. Like, what do you want out of everything? It's like big goals. And then you keep this like in the back of your planner, or in the front of your planner. So every day when you open it, you see these goals. Professional goals, I would put in like, what are my Sawdust Startups goals? Or what are my woodworking business goals? Personal goals, and then obviously health goals and relationship goals. You can put those in there. Now, this is basically a good way to kind of plan or put on paper, in writing, what your goals are. But the main thing is, we get back to time management. You have to block the time off. And one thing I get a lot of is people say, I don't have time to do X, Y, or Z. Well, you do. You just aren't managing your time correctly, right? I waste time every day. You waste time every day. We just do. It's just part of it. But when we start realizing that, especially if you take those planners, you start writing down what you've done today. Instead of using it, you can plan your day with them, but you can also use it to record what you did. And I would recommend you do that for the first several days. Just go through and write like, okay, woke up this morning, went to work. And so you work from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., whatever it is. You just draw a line and say work. When you get home, you spent an hour with the family and then 3 hours watching TV. And then if you do that over a few days, you can start seeing a pattern. You're like, oh, that's where my time's going. And it may not be that exact structure, but you'll see if you start writing everything down, you'll see where your time's going. And you'll be like, oh yeah, guilty as charged. I need to tweak this a little bit. And you don't totally have to remake everything. You don't have to do a 180-degree turn today. You're going to do this. You're going to build those habits, and habits are built slowly over time. But you're going to start building the habit today of blocking off your time and start really focusing on the business and prioritizing the business if you want to grow the business. And I think you do because you're here. And if you weren't actually wanting to grow your business, you wouldn't be in sawdust startups. And our goal is to help you grow the business as the best we can. And this is what's worked for me. You have to block time off and you have to prioritize your time on the business and start actually working toward growing the business. Because once you start doing that, you prioritize learning how to grow a business. You start prioritizing building the products that are going to grow the business. When you start doing that, like we talked about earlier, if you dedicated 1 hour a day, 210 hours a week, that's massive. Or a month, 210 hours a month, that's massive growth. Massive growth. And then if you don't, say you don't want to work on Sundays or you take a day of rest, you just take an hour away from week. You're still at 6 hours a week, and so you're still really, really benefiting from that. What is it, 180 hours a month? Still a lot of hours dedicated to the business, but you have to make that priority. And that's one of the main things is on time management. There's no secret pill that's going to fix it. You're not going to just, it's just you have to be disciplined, and discipline is hard. It's just one of those things. You just got to rip the Band-Aid off and say, okay, starting tomorrow morning, 5 a.m., I'm getting up. And from 5 to 6, well, if you normally get up at 6, from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., I'm going to do 30 minutes of walking, and then I'm doing 30 minutes of actual, research on the business, or I'm going to do 30 minutes in the shop, or however your time is structured. You just have to figure out what works best for you. But I highly recommend getting up early, going to bed early, and then prioritizing the hours you have in the day to go towards your business that's not dedicated to somewhere else, family and or work. You got to do that. If you do that over the next month, it'll be a huge difference in 30 days. If you make that daily habit in 6 months, your business will look totally different than it does today in a good way. And if you do that over a year's time, you will not recognize your business from today, especially if you're recording this stuff, writing it down. Your amount of orders you're getting, the amount of product you're producing today versus a year, if you manage your time properly over a year, you're going to see massive growth in your business, and you're also going to see massive personal growth yourself. Start those daily habits. Start tomorrow. Start at least a daily habit every day of something that we've talked about in this module. I'm telling you, it's going to make a massive difference, but you have to prioritize it. You have to. I can't do it for you. I can't force you to do it. You just got to make the decision that, you know what? I'm tired of wasting my time. I'm tired of not being successful, and I'm tired of watching everybody else succeed while I'm sitting on the couch watching Netflix. I just got to change things. Change it, and let's get on it, because I think you'll see a massive difference. I think you'll be very, very pleased at what you see once you get used to the new habits. Let's go.